episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with...
Elizabeth Helly.
And...
Tyler Hymanson.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have set aside some executive time for you guys tonight so that we can talk about Roadhouse 2. Last call?
Last call?
Last call for alcohol, in case you didn't know what last call means.
So yeah, there's some debate in terms of this movie if it has a subtitle, if it is Roadhouse 2 Last Call.
I mean, some places it is, some places it isn't.
Not.
And one of those places it's not is in the movie. So I'm going to go with Roadhouse 2. Nothing.
Is that your rating? We're not rating yet.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
The DVD box that I had said like Roadhouse 2, and then it said Take It Outside, but it was more like a tagline. It didn't look like a subtitle.
Was it Roadhouse 2 Bouncer Boogaloo?
Yeah.
No, that's what it says on the box when you were at Blockbuster, like trying to get you to take it outside.
Yeah.
Rent me.
Cash me outside.
Actually, this probably wasn't even out when it was
No, it was like in
in
2006, right?
Oh, they were gone.
They were on their way out for sure.
They were on their way out. Well, if you, I don't know, man. If you want to see this movie, maybe you'll be dissuaded by listening to this trailer.
New York drug agent Shane Tanner's in the business of fighting back. But when family business becomes deadly, his only job is revenge.
How many more people are going to die because you won't do the right thing?
Jonathan Schack, Jake Busey, and Will Patton kick action into high gear in Roadhouse 2.
They're back. No, actually,
who's back?
The title of the movie is back in Roadhouse 2.
So I didn't see the trailer for this, and as I started watching,
No one saw the trailer for this. Does people even know this movie exists?
I imagine that there was probably like an early like popover like website takeover. If you went onto Bass Pro Shop, it was like they played like the Roadhouse 2 trailer.
The trailer's like, from the director of Cruel Intentions 3 and Three-Way, and the producer of Don Swayze's Squanderers is the name of the movie.
Shadow Squanderers?
No, he has another movie called Shadow Witness.
Yeah,
So wait, hold
but
on.
he produced a movie
how
with
many
Don
Cruel-
Swayze.
How many?
Oh, wait, when did Patrick Swayze die again?
He was alive.
He was alive when
Oh,
this came
no.
out. Yeah. Although I like Don Swayze of just like a guy like doing an Italian Patrick Swayze impression.
I watched the trailer for Squanderers, and it's like, they did it again! McQueen and Swayze! And then you're like, oh shit, Patrick Swayze? No,
Steve
it's
McQueen?
Don Swayze. Yeah, Steve McQueen in 1995? Yeah. Patrick Swayze passed away, sadly, in 2009.
Oh, okay. So unfortunately, he had to see this.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true or not, but it was saying online that he was originally supposed to be in it at some point. And then he was like, yeah, about that.
Well, when this movie starts, it starts like there is a Kid Rock video. Like somehow there's a Kid Rock video that you're watching because it's just like...
No, before that, it starts in shocking fashion with the MGM logo and also Sony Pictures Home. I was like, what? Real studios made this movie? Okay.
But let's not forget that it was made by a company called Mañana Films. Not mañana, like with an N-Y, as you would say it in Spanish, but literally man-yana. Like, I don't know if that's like a clever joke or they just don't know how to spell.
I mean, for it to be a clever joke, there would have to be someone clever involved with this film.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. It's like Kid Rock up in here right in the beginning.
Yeah, it's like a Kid Rock video where...
alligator.
It's like the swamp, and then it's showing things, and then it's showing drugs, and then it's just like random cuts of like people cocking guns, and then somebody like not even doing a cool knife trick of just like opening up a knife and then smoking crystal meth. And it's like when the movie started, I thought, okay, we've been bamboozled here because this is just going to be a generic action movie that has nothing to do with Roadhouse. Mm-hmm. Because that's what it seems so fucking southern and just ugh. And then there's a cool Lamborghini that comes up, and the way that it's shot, like you can tell that like the director thinks like, oh, like it's a reversal, like it's not a man driving it, like it's two twins.
No, this is like a ripped from Fast and the Furious shot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it still a roadhouse if it's on the water, by the way?
No.
that's true. Waterhouse.
A boathouse? Yeah.
We also publish books.
It's like, yeah, you think this has nothing to do with Roadhouse, and then you find out it has everything to do with Roadhouse.
Yeah, so it starts, and I was like, okay, they just branded this, and they wanted to package the rights, and they were just
Open water situation.
Yeah, they're just going to sell their generic movie and do this, and then it gets involved in a way.
Okay, before we leave the twins, though, you guys said that you watched this on Vudu, right? Okay, so I watched it.
I watched this, unfortunately, on the train.
Yeah, again, the train.
That sounds fun.
I hope that part where they were in the hot tub and that girl's boob
It
was
was
just like
so
out the entire time.
It was the worst. Like this movie. So you're talking about Cruel Intentions 3 and all these these are softcore pornography films. Like this man has made softcore porn, and there's so many. Like there's the scene that's just like a strip club for no reason, and there's a scene where like there's literally the Jake Busey's in a hot tub. No one needs to see this. And there's this woman, and like it happens, and like I'm literally turning my phone over, like so like nobody can see what I'm looking at. And then I'm like, well, surely this woman submerged herself, because like they're not just gonna have her boob out the entire time that they're talking about exposition with his sleazy attorney with a bow tie who sucks, and then turn up. Oh nope, sure enough, it's still happening. Like this is it's the most gratuitous, awful.
And they're like both like doing something with like they're definitely not near his penis, but they're like kind of like
she's riding
squirming,
him, kind of,
yeah.
like maybe each one's on each knee or something, but there's definitely not like
that whole sequence is like
it's
Yeah.
it's not sexual, but it is off-putting.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I don't know what the cover image on Vudu was, but the DVD that I got from the Los Angeles Public Library, which has one copy in the entire county of Los Angeles, I had to request that it be moved from Echo Park all the way over to Highland Park, where I live. It took a week to do so.
Had a request for Roadhouse too.
Years.
But anyways, the cover is the main character, Jake,
Some guy,
What's his
Tanner.
Yeah,
Sean.
No,
Shane.
They call him Tanner.
It's Shane.
is it really?
It's Shane.
I think it's
man.
Shane Tanner.
The other guy's name is Nate. The dad.
Oh.
No, the uncle.
Okay, well, whatever. Anyways, it's got the main character in the middle, like doing the.
I would rather watch a movie called The Dunkle. Sorry.
Wannabe Patrick Swayze arms crossed pose, and then these twins like flanking him on either side. And so, because they're on the poster, you might think that like these go on to be some sort of character in the film, maybe even with like a speaking part or like personalities.
It's probably like the director's daughters or something.
They
gross
never
like that.
appear in the film again.
I doubt it.
After this opening scene, they are never there again. So the decision was made to put them on the cover.
But who is there? And one of my favorite things about this movie is that there's another bar. It's called the Black Pelican. Our Tanner ends up taking it over at some point. We'll get into why that is later, but then he has a staff meeting, and it has all the bouncers there. And then there's the one waitress who apparently wears a bikini and chaps at the bar at all times. And so she's in the staff meeting wearing a bikini and chaps, because as you do when you're having a post-work.
They're wearing their uniforms.
Yeah, and there's other women there. Like, she's the only one in a bikini. And then later on in the movie, I think you're supposed to believe that there's a DEA raid that happens. And later in the movie, you're supposed to believe that, I guess maybe it's supposed to be a different person, but it's the same actress in a bikini and chaps with a gun and a DEA badge. Like, she was a plant there the whole time.
What? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Really?
She's
I
part
thought-
of the raid. She has a
You
gun.
sure you're not just getting the two DEA ladies mixed up?
They were both in a yellow bikini.
I don't know. Well, that's what I was saying. I love that opening scene in the strip club where they like scared away a bunch of patrons from ever going to strip club again, because they're sitting there and they're like, "Oh shit, the strippers are DEA agents! What the fuck?" That one girl's like serving drinks, and then she's like, "Drop it, DEA."
I might not have seen that full scene because, again, I was on the train and I was like, I can't have the strip club scene.
Well, yeah, the one girl at the strip club is a DEA agent, and then we get this awkward, like, her trying to seduce him in, like, the most awkward way.
Oh, man.
The back room. Oh, God.
She's pretty good at being a stripper. Maybe she should consider a second job.
That was so fucked up.
Is that what he says?
Yeah. You didn't hear him say that?
Mm.
He's like, hey, man, maybe you should pick up a little second job. Yeah.
Cool.
My colleague, who ostensibly has gone through hours and hours of training as a law enforcement officer and then DEA.
Well, that's the Wade Garrett in him.
He just blows her off like, nah, I gotta go. Got work to do.
My favorite part about, like, after they make this bust at the strip club, like, he's wearing these really shitty earrings, and then he just pops them off.
Oh, that part I was like, thank God.
God, yeah.
I thought he was going to be wearing those the entire time. So we're at the Black Pelican, which is run by Nate Tanner.
Mm-hmm.
And we learn that
Dalton's last name was Tanner.
And also, apparently, like, you know, bar owners everywhere need to know karate or something.
Well, that's part of it. When you get, like, yeah. Haven't you ever watched Bar Rescue?
Yeah. That guy goes in and kicks the shit out of everybody.
Part of it is teaching people karate.
These TVs don't have cable. Just like that, I think, if I remember correctly.
It's good stuff.
But, like, yeah, he gets this phone call in the middle of, let's set up the Black Pelican a little bit. It's basically like the Double Deuce in full swing.
Right.
And everything's nice. There's another random Southern rock band on the apparently signed to Warner Brothers Records, according to the credits. Yeah.
Oh, my God. There's like 20 people in that band.
Including a little person that just yells things.
He just goes, yeah,
I don't think he actually was playing an instrument.
He was the hype man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he wears the same outfit every time.
Yeah.
I mean, they all kind of...
This movie does force it with that band. Like, there's a point where the lead singer of the band comes by, and he's talking to Shane, and he's like, it's getting pretty hairy out there.
Yeah, like, be careful. It's not at all good, like, in the first
No,
movie.
no. It's this movie, was it gate checks? Like, we need to figure out a term for what it is of when the sequel is just checking the box.
Callbacks. It's just callbacks.
It's just callbacks. Like, so they're trying to do the callback of the relationship between the house band and the main cooler, and it feels so forced and stilted. It's awful.
Yeah, the band is James Otto, and he's listed on IMDb as the band.
James, is it? Let me guess. It's AUTO.
No, it's OTTO.
Mistake.
And he's got 3 major singles on the Billboard Hot Country Songs.
I feel like his name would be James Otto in the Hemis.
No.
It was so country. All the music was so
It was
country.
so country.
But it was like also, this one takes place in Louisiana, so you'd think it would be like jazzy, or I guess maybe that's like
bluesy.
like something like that, like for towards the area.
Yeah.
But it was so country-ish, and even the old Roadhouse was really much more rock.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we're getting like a hick version of this movie. I don't really
like that's not what we need.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they kind of allude that Jake Busey's character is from Texas, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
There's also a really awkward, this doesn't like continue throughout the entire movie, but there's a super awkward music moment where like there's a scene where Jake Busey's character tells his guy Marcus, who's black, to go sell at the Black Pelican. And so in that scene where Marcus is selling the Black Pelican, they're playing like hip hop music, boom, and then like they kick Marcus out, and as soon as they come back in from kicking the one black guy in the bar out, it's like right back to the country rock. Oh yeah, and I was like, what the fuck?
There's definitely what's the genre called that's like Kid Rock, like hillbilly rap?
It's just
like Bubba Sparks.
What do you even call that?
It's like
Uncle Cracker, like that nonsense.
It's like Southern rap rock. I don't know.
It's not good.
It's awful.
It's not good.
It wasn't that bad. It was just super country rock. Yeah. Not like Allman Brothers-y blues rock or anything.
Sure. It was. There's some songs that play when they're specifically showing Jake Busey's character, which we should get into. He's simultaneously. I have complex feelings about Jake Busey in this movie.
I have no feelings about Jake Busey.
Because
me neither, actually.
because Jake Busey in this movie is so hateable. Like, he is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so in that way, perhaps he's crafted a good villain because he is the
You sure
worst.
it's not just the way he looks?
Yeah, but I'm also like wondering if maybe that's just him. Like,
Exactly.
It's possible. It's possible. But like he is the worst. And then the problem is that he's also supposed to be like this badass fighter.
Yeah.
And
Apparently
like he's so like doughy and pasty in this movie. Like you can't believe that he couldn't kick my ass.
His superpower is that he's like taller than the other actors.
I guess.
And apparently he's an ex-cooler who's gone into the drug business.
Yeah.
oh,
He's not supposed to.
I
yeah.
missed that completely.
They said he was
Oh,
an ex-cooler.
yeah. I guess he worked at the Black Pelican.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he dresses like Guy Fieri.
Yeah. And it follows his hairstyle.
So
and
yeah.
everything.
So it's like, is he a compelling villain because he is the fucking worst?
No, I just think that
Okay.
they were like, who's like this? Oh, Jake Busey? Great.
So
There's got to be somewhere out there who doesn't have to act who's just like this guy.
It'd be like, hey, let's just get Logan Paul for this.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Same haircut and everything, too. Yeah. Jake Busey, so he's like in this drug trade, and the whole thing is like, apparently, the Black Pelican is like prime real estate for
This
drugs.
is the dumbest thing in the movie because they're like because what it is
It's so close to
all right,
Mexico.
all right, yeah. So Nate
Florida.
is Dalton's brother, right? And Shane is Dalton's son. We didn't even get into this. Like, okay,
That's a major reveal, like 30 minutes into
in the movie, yeah. And so Nate owns he has the Double Deuce and like he's owned this club. So he's gone from being the cooler. He owns this awesome club, and this drug trade's trying to squeeze in on it. And the reason that the movie gives for why all these ne'er-do-wells are trying to get access to the Black Pelican is location, location, location. Which they could have left it at that. But then they have somebody explain it where he's like, yeah, like you could just, it's so close to, I think they do say Mexico.
They do,
Swear to
yeah.
God, they say Mexico. And
It's
they
so
also
close-
say Florida
They
border.
said, yeah, it's so close to Mexico, and it's between the Florida-Texas border, and you can run anything through the swamps. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. It kind of does. I mean, we've all seen True Detective season 1. There's all sorts of swamps, and I don't know what happens there.
Oh no, there's certainly swamps. Well, there's so many things in this movie where they try to make this bar so important, and it's not. Like, there's a time where there's like they commit multiple murders, and they're like, "Let's have our important meeting here in 2 hours."
Yeah.
It's like no one will know. But it doesn't make it doesn't like you could just get any. Like, they have fucking Jake Busey's house is on the swamp. Like you just run it out of there. Like it doesn't fucking matter. They don't make it seem like that there's any reason why anything within the 30-mile radius of where the Black
I
Pelican
think they just
is.
said it there because someone was like, hey, I got a couple airboats that I haven't used. Should we make the movie based in the swampland?
Sure.
I mean, they have these like random airboat shots every once in a while.
It's really funny.
There's that one scene where Jake
Also-
and his gang like roll up just to be like, hey, maybe don't hang out with that guy later. Bye. And then goes.
So I want to get into the love interest of this movie because then I want to point out one of the funniest things that happens in this movie to me.
Bo?
Yeah, so Bo, Robo-Bo. Bo in this movie, we get one of our first callbacks when Shane is coming to town because he hears,
So many callbacks.
yeah, Nate, which is Dalton's brother, Shane's uncle, gets his ass kicked gets stabbed. Yeah, Jake Busey's crew is problematic in a lot of ways. And so he gets ambushed and stabbed because they want the Black Pelican. Gets in the hospital. So Shane gets the call, has to come down. And as he's driving to town, he's driving, I guess, his dad's Mercedes because it's the same make and model of like the Mercedes from 1989. And and Jake Busey is driving recklessly down the street and almost hits him as he's changing the
I thought
tire.
that was great.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the callbacks that I thought was
And then
actually fun.
he continues driving on like swerving.
Yeah, so
Just like,
it's just like
Wesley.
Wesley.
Brad Wesley. I was actually reading that apparently there's a drinking game to play with this. Like every time they reference the first film, either directly or because there's lots of lines straight up.
Wait, so enough people saw this that they actually created and posted a drinking game?
Apparently.
That would have been a more fun way to watch this film.
I know, we should have done it.
Maybe
Live recording.
Yeah, maybe a bonus episode we do a live recording. Or we find the next one there's a drinking game. We'll do that. So he meets Bo. It's a weird, like, flirty thing. And my favorite thing about this is that she shows up later and she drives a fan boat to his house.
Yep.
As one does.
As one does. And then later in the movie, it's revealed that she lives in the middle of the fucking city. Because there's like a downtown area with a nice restaurant and a bridge that he picks her up and where she teaches school, which is not remotely near fan boat
So you're
territory.
saying she went to go rent a fan boat because he lives by the water, so
Right.
she had to take that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, she drove her nice Kia to a fan boat rental.
Also, like, okay,
I guess she
this
drives
takes
a Jeep.
place in the swamps. There's a million shots of alligators. Not one person gets eaten by an alligator. or
No.
anything.
The Kid Rock video that starts the movie out, you would think that there would be an alligator.
Several times people fall into the water and nobody gets eaten by an alligator.
They did not have an animal budget.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
They had some stock footage of
Yeah.
alligators.
They could have made it look. What if it was just like it cut to like it eating a wildebeest after someone falls in the water?
So we talked about how Patrick Swayze's performance in the original Roadhouse has a lot of one-liners that fall completely flat because he just did not have the charisma to bring them off. We yearn for the charisma of Patrick Swayze in this movie because there is a literal 2x4 starring in this film.
Yeah. The lead singer of The Wonders.
True.
But
that makes you like him, which you shouldn't.
I know, I'm sorry. Jonathan, I don't know how do you say his name. Snatch?
Schweppes.
Shach? It looks like Shach. I don't know. Sorry, Jonathan. If you're listening.
Sorry, John. Yeah, he is anti-charisma.
Mm-hmm.
He's a charisma black hole.
Yeah, he just kind of says lines, moves on, punches stuff.
He walks off. He starts like, so we're talking about this strip club scene, and it's a whole DEA bus, and then his boss is on his ass, and he basically just walks off the job. Like, you can just blow off being a federal agent.
Yeah, well, he says, well, consider me on leave or something like that. You're like, okay.
But it's like a big secret, and it's like, why don't you just tell him, hey, my uncle was beat up. I need to go take care of him. He's my only family. Sorry. Like, but they make it seem like a big secret.
Anyone knowing what he's doing could upset the investigation. I guess. He's got to triple undercover.
That's not true.
I know. He pretty much blows the like DEA like bust immediately.
Yeah.
Like he could have waited.
It's the movie has problems.
Yeah, and there's way more gunfights in this movie.
Yeah, he is. I guess the twist is that he's a DEA agent and not just a bouncer, so he does not have the same qualms as Dalton has had with killing.
True.
He's ready to kill.
He's also a former boxer.
Yeah.
This movie has the thing where it's like the flashback that's supposed to be like
It's so great.
like the thing that like defined him as a person.
Yeah, punch that bag, boy. Hit it, boy. You can do it, but go faster, boy.
And it just cuts to like this doughy teenager who has no conviction in his fighting, and then there's just a voiceover yelling at him, and like the footage is like shot dramatically in slow motion, but he's just boxing shittily. Like it's just.
Well, I
him
was
being
like, yeah. So is that guy talking supposed to be Patrick Swayze going like, "Hey, boy, hit the
no,
bag,
it's
boy."
Nate.
Uncle.
It's
Yeah.
Nate.
I guess it's just weird. Why wouldn't it be his dad? Why wouldn't it be his dad? I don't know. It's stupid.
Yeah, well, apparently his dad didn't teach him how to fight, I guess.
Well, he did say that he mostly lived with Nate because his dad traveled around a lot for work. So even though, like, it basically implied that he was going to settle down after that whole Brad Wesley disaster, maybe settle down with Doc, we never really find out who this kid's mother is. And we do find out that Patrick Swayze apparently continued to travel around as a cooler.
Yeah, until he gets unceremoniously shot by Jake Busey.
By Jake Busey. That's the main problem with this movie. And that's the thing that clouds the Roadhouse legacy is that pasty-ass Jake Busey killed Dalton.
I mean, I guess he was using a gun, so that's not really fair, but still.
Yeah, no.
That guy killed Dalton?
That guy.
Dalton.
He
Guy
just
Fieri.
shot him from far away. So far away, he couldn't even tell it wasn't the other guy.
Yeah. And then he was like, I thought you'd be bigger. They say that in the movie, too.
They say it a lot.
In fact, that scene where they're having like...
He says opinions vary.
Yeah. There's that scene where they're having that group meeting. One of the bouncers apparently has watched Roadhouse because he like finishes his quote when he's saying it. Unless the quote was just so well known.
Well, no, I think
he's
the
like,
quote,
be nice.
No, I think that the quote was like that's what the Tanner family said.
I
Like
know, I just thought
that's
that
on
was-
the Tanner family crest.
I just thought that was really funny. He's a
Also,
fan of Roadhouse.
Better or worse than the robot guy in the Step Up series.
Oh, so much worse.
That
there's
was weird.
There's a bouncer named Chubby
Yeah.
who looks kind of like Dane Cook.
And then were they implying that he actually was mentally challenged?
He like said he was
Yeah.
about himself.
Yeah, so it's a bouncer who makes a joke about himself being mentally challenged, and then the movie gives no context whether that was
Because
self-deprecating
some guy's like, "Are you
or
retarded?"
factual.
And he goes,
Yeah.
"Mentally challenged." Okay, like what?
Wait, are you?
I know, that's why I was like, what? And then he just died. No, he doesn't die.
He
right?
doesn't die.
He gets shot,
Yeah.
and then later at the end of the movie,
The other guy
there's
dies.
him dancing shittily on crutches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing a little
They
robot
call
thing.
me Crutchbot. This movie has like some really insane scene transitions. Not even transitions, but like edits. There's a couple I want to point out
Okay.
where the scenes just continue into the next thing. In the very beginning, when
I have my favorite one, so I hope you
Oh,
get
yeah,
to
in
it.
the very beginning, there's like when Jake Busey's crew shows up to beat up Nate. Like Nate managed to escape and like get into the water, and they shoot the random water. And like right before they cut to the next scene, Jake Busey's like, "I want his head for my fence," and then it's like some serious like scene right after that. But my favorite one, which I don't know if it's the same one as you. Sean, has arrived into town, and he's like gonna go check out Nate's house, and he's like in the house looking around, and all of a sudden like a cat appears, and he's like, "Oh, cat!" And he picks it up and he goes, "Hey, buddy, are you hungry?" And then like snap cut to him punching a boxing bag, like, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, what? They like lingered on the cat thing for like a split second too long, and then he's just punching a boxing bag. Like,
Well, he put the cat in the
so
bag.
dramatic, I guess.
Ugh.
No, my favorite one, and it's part of a reveal. So we find out that Bo is so Bo is like kind of courting, and they have like this. I guess it's a romance. I don't know. It's pretty stilted and bad. But she basically keeps him away from the Black Pelican one night when Wild Bill, Jake Busey, is going to go in there and kill some folks. And then the reveal happens that Wild Bill calls Bo. And then like, oh shit, like is she working for him? Like that's what you're supposed to think on his fucking flip phone. And the Black Pelican has a titular like pelican statue. Mm-hmm. And after he does this, he walks out of the frame, and then the camera just slowly zooms in on the pelican statue, and it like does it for 20 seconds. It's just
Foreshadowing.
Pelican. Yes, we will get to that later. But that was my favorite one. It was just like, why are we zooming in on the pelican?
Yeah, there's lots of weird shit in this movie.
This girl Bo, she's playing off the fact that she like actually knows how to do some things, and she's attributing it all to the Girl Scouts.
Right.
And then later on, like she talks about how she doesn't like the other girl or whatever, the other
she's in
hench
the
girl.
Brownies.
Yeah, and she's like, oh well, she's in the Brownies, and the Girl Scouts and the Brownies have like a storied rivalry. It's like, okay, so no one even involved in this movie even remotely bothered to like Google the different thing, because Brownies are Girl Scouts.
It's like Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, right?
So this is like a common thing, because like, okay, Boy Scouts, it's like your Tiger Scout, Cub Scout, Boy Scout, Eagle Scout, whatever.
You missed Weeblo?
We blow.
Whatever.
We blow.
That sounds like cultural appropriation. But Girl Scouts are all Girl Scouts. Like, there's no such thing as like the age group you are in being called the Girl Scouts. Like the Girl Scouts is the overarching organization. You go from Daisy, Brownie, Junior, Cadet, Senior, Ambassador, and Adult or whatever, right? So that doesn't even make sense, first of all. And I hate it when people mess that up and they're like, oh, what are you now, Girl Scouts? Like, no, I'm this. So, like, is that a girl? You know, it's stupid. But yeah, they didn't even bother to look this up. And the brownies are basically just like first to third graders.
Right.
Who
And
throw
then
knives, apparently.
the Girl Scouts would be literally everyone, including the brownies.
Correct.
And even if you were saying it would be like another group above them that hates them, like, doesn't make any sense and it's stupid.
Yeah.
And then later she reveals that she was actually in the army.
Right,
So,
exactly.
That's where she got that tramp stamp.
yeah, it is a huge tramp stamp. Like, that
Yeah.
tramp stamp was already regrettable in 2006.
Yeah.
Like,
That was awkward. I did like that she gets to kick some ass in the
Yes.
Sure.
in the movie, and she can kind of handle her own shit.
She does, yes. Yeah.
Not that, yeah.
there's even one, like, lady thug there so that they can fight against
Yeah.
each other in the
Yeah.
final battle.
That was
She
pretty
throws
fun.
knives, I guess.
She's knife lady.
At one point, Nate is in the hospital and they've gone to kill him and he's all like hobbled. And she comes in to stab him and he's like,
This is. I know what you're about to
yeah,
say.
he's like, stab me once, shame on you. Stab me twice, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, not gonna happen. I was like, this is like what Josh was saying about like last week about
Oh, yeah.
the genre of films where they're trying to like redo
Yeah.
classic.
Does a hobby horse have a wooden dick?
That's right.
So I guess this fulfills that Roadhouse tradition.
Yeah.
I guess. Although it does
I
go
did
back
think
to
that was really funny.
one of the things that Nate does say is like, your dad was wrong about one thing. Pain does hurt.
That was funny. I like that one. But no, like, they definitely do stab him again, P.S.
Yeah, yeah.
in the back.
He actually dies in the movie twice, and then is
Yeah.
alive at the end, miraculously.
Yeah.
Also, his pal from the hospital is the new bartender.
Yeah.
That was the most hilarious detail.
That was so weird.
Yeah, so
I like at the hospital, Nate is getting chased. He's like hiding around from all the bad guys, and like he goes in the one room, and the guy's like, "Hey, you're not supposed to be out of your bed. You're not
listening
following
to the nurses."
Yeah, you're not following their orders." I just thought that was like, what are you narking on me, other patient guy?
Yeah. I guess we have to get into like why that's kind of happening, or we
Nah.
don't.
I mean, this whole thing is like,
They want to buy the bar. He doesn't want to sell it.
Yeah.
like the whole time there's like a bigger bad above Jake Busey, and he just won't shut up about the DeMarco meeting.
So my favorite thing about this bigger bad, you guys might know what it is. So this bigger bad, like I don't even know what the
Cross?
relationship. Yeah,
Is his name?
it was Cross or Crossed.
Oh.
Victor Cross.
Yeah, because in the subtitles it said crossed sometimes.
That's just a sleepy subtitle. Crossed.
So he's based out of Miami, right?
Yeah.
And there's the amount of times that he, like, this guy literally 5 or 6 times says the equivalent of, don't send, your subordinates to do a man's job. Like, he says it 6 times and he keeps doing that.
Yeah.
But my favorite instance of it is where he goes, don't ever send a minor leaguer to pitch Game 7 of the World Series. And then like 2 scenes later, he's like, we'll do this, we'll do the deal, and I'll be back to see the Marlins game. And I'm like, I love that he's such a big baseball fan. And that they've made it a part of his character, I guess.
But also, I was like, is this the equivalent to Game 7 of the World Series? Like, this one random
No, it's not.
boathouse in the
guess.
swamp? Like,
Yeah.
It seems like he has a plane that he can fly in and out with no recourse.
Well, I mean, it was the same thing in the last movie. Wesley was making a big fucking deal about there's one bar in the town. Like, that town only has one bar.
But
I feel like
that movie. I feel like Roadhouse 1 didn't try to explain it, and the fact that this one did made it worse. Location.
They're like, it's right on the third corner of the Bermuda Triangle. It's really important.
It's like they could have
King
said
Tut's buried underneath it.
They could have said fucking anything.
The Declaration of Independence was signed by someone here.
We haven't talked about how there is another through line of the movie where there is somebody working at the Black Pelican who is on the playing for the other team.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Luther.
Friggin' Luther.
He's the only slightly ethnic employee, so he must be the bad one.
That's right.
Keith David, not in this movie.
No, sadly. I do love the scene where like they find out Sean. Is it Shane? Shane. Shane finds out. Shane.
You keep changing the name. You said it was Shane.
It's Shane. He finds out that Luther is the one who's like behind all the setups and everything.
Oh my God, yes.
And he calls Luther's phone and he's like, "Hey Luther, why don't you come down to the Black Pelican? We're having a quick meeting here."
We were having a problem, yeah.
Yeah, just come down. And he's like, "All right, man, cool." And then Luther picks up the phone to call his boss, like, "Hey, boss, he's going to be at the Black Pelican." And then all of a sudden, some guy holding a trash can,
Captain America jumps through the window.
diving through the window, and you're like, "Oh fuck, he set him up." It was Shane, or was it Sean?
No, yeah, he jumps through a plate glass window with the trash can lid, which is kind of amazing.
At least he was smart enough to know that it's gonna hurt you.
So
if you just jump through
here's the main wrinkle of this movie that doesn't make any sense, because we're talking about
You're talking about the lawyer's suit, right?
Let's get into. We will get it. Like, hold that thought, because I definitely want to talk about the lawyer. No, this is a DEA agent. We've established that he's a DEA agent, and that this is a massive drug ring, that he already has meetings and things and like a whole chain, and he is resorting to jumping through windows with trash can lids.
Because this time it's personal.
Yeah.
Well, I think the reason he's doing that is because the first time he tried to do it, it like totally failed.
Well,
Because of Luther.
sure.
Because Luther was like, "That waitress has a gun."
That was bad planning on his part.
Yeah, so then the DEA was like, "Fuck you, we're not doing this
But
anymore."
again, they had drugs on the scene. They had the guy. They had cartel people there. And then they murdered people.
That's true.
That is enough to bring the entire federal government down on these people
in real life,
and have it not be his problem.
Yeah, but there's
all.
3 sheriffs that are helping them hide it.
Yeah, fuck. No one gives a fuck.
Dad.
He's a DEA agent. Yeah. It's federal. Who gives a fuck about the local sheriffs? He's paid off the local sheriffs. Who gives a fuck? And then there's like, nope, like they said it was planted or whatever, and it's like, that's not how it works. People are dead. There's witnesses.
Yeah, there was a major shootout. I don't know.
And then everybody leaves, and they're like, oh, they wouldn't come back, would they? And he's like, no, they'd be crazy to come back. And again, they would, because there's no reason that this bar is that important.
He's called Wild Bill, okay? He's clearly crazy.
So the lawyer.
Oh, the lawyer, yes. There's a scene where, like...
they're trying to buy the Black Pelican for $400,000.
Yeah, oh, it's not even worth that much. But anyways, yeah, so Shane is like, looking over the books out at the bar patio. And in walks this dude in, like, what looks like a fake, like, tuxedo or something. It's like
it looks like a tuxedo that has like Velcro down the back seams so that you could just like rip it off from one
I was
piece.
like, did you just go rent that at some party store? Like, what? And then he pretends he's a real lawyer, I guess. I don't know. Shane believes him.
Anyways, like Shane is like, no, we're not selling. And the guy, this is after the whole robot guy mentally challenged, like back and forth. And
I was like, wait, the
lawyer,
robot guy?
the lawyer leaves. Yeah, the robot guy.
Yeah,
I literally mean it. When the lawyer leaves, the best insult he can come up with is "Goodbye, girls." like we're 8,
Yeah,
that guy is
girls.
Yeah, and that guy is so gross because he's in that scene for
the hot tub scene,
hot tub
and
scene.
he's like, "Yeah, Jake Busey, get it."
Yeah,
Tap that ass.
He says, "Tear that ass up."
Oh yeah,
which is even worse than what both of you guys.
I thought it was tap that ass.
I'm pretty sure he said tear
I
that
wasn't.
ass.
I had too much shame to watch the scene in public.
It was gross.
In public.
And he's watching them like, yeah. And he even kisses one of the girls as she goes back in the pool. Like, ugh.
Oh yeah, he says something like, "Hey, little like rose petal" or something creepy like that.
Yeah, something real gross.
Yeah,
and then he's never in the movie again.
He's the worst. Did we mention that Jake Busey and Bo were related?
Yeah, they're
yeah,
cousins.
You did. Yep, you did.
They're cousins.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be brother and sister, which would have
Yeah.
made the characters better because then they would have actually given a shit about
Yeah,
each
it doesn't
other.
make a sense why everyone's using flip phones in this movie, by the way, which is fun and quaint. And
There's lots of insane phone things happening.
yes, Jake Busey is the worst in this movie for a lot of reasons. The hot tub scene is one of them. His choice in lawyers is another. His Guy Fieri outfit is one of them. But one of my favorite things is that he has a leather holster for his flip phone.
There was a scene really early at the beginning.
He's like angry, like flip, flip, open.
There's also a scene in the beginning of the movie, like when they're at the Black Pelican, where like one of the bouncer guys on the main floor is like, "Hey boss, the phone's for you. It's some guy," and he's like, "Okay, cool," and he's like up 2 stories above him.
Yeah,
and
he
goes,
just whips the phone.
like throws the phone up to him. I'm like, what? Who would do that? And he caught it. Like, okay, great.
Well, when you work with a tanner.
Yeah, they're throwing phones out. There's 2 phone throwing scenes
Yes,
in this
that's
movie
true.
that I was like, no one throws a phone like that. No, maybe a flip phone you could throw. It wouldn't break as easily.
I still just love this really shitty, like, 13-year-old in boxing gear that the movie keeps going back to. And it's like, and they didn't, like, the kid can't fight, and, like, he does not look like he wants to be there. And he doesn't look like,
hit it harder,
he doesn't look tough. Like, it's just like, it's like if they put me when I was 13.
Yeah.
I don't
just
even
wanna
think he
watch
was
Power
credited though, because I
Rangers.
didn't see
Sure.
like a young.
I mean, I wouldn't want my name on it either.
I found her student though.
Oh, I was like,
Is
yeah,
she
what
like a
about that
kindergarten
girl?
teacher
Yeah.
or something, or second grade teacher?
Yeah.
She's an elementary school teacher, and one of her students comes up to her when they're at a.
Are you
diner.
a teacher? Elementary.
Yeah, this says hi to her or whatever. But that girl, her name is Cymia Telleria. How would you pronounce Cymia? Shimia, Cymia. So, anyways,
I think you put the best guess out there.
she recently in 2017 she released her EP, and she I guess is a really like successful model and maybe somewhat successful singer, because somehow she's verified on Twitter, even though she hasn't really acted much. And she has 37.5 thousand followers on Twitter.
Dang, did
There you
you
go.
listen to her music?
Yeah, for like 2 seconds.
Oh, so it was bad?
No, it's just like kind of generic, like it sounded like a Sierra song or something, like just generic.
When was it out again?
2017.
Oh, pretty
So,
recent.
yeah.
Maybe I'll check it out. Send me the deets.
So, Shane has a buddy in the DEA that he calls.
That he
that's-
fucks. No, I'm kidding.
Well, yeah, the stripper girl.
yeah. And what's his name? Moynihan. How fast can you get down here? And he calls. So it's like his like elder, sagacious like black
Yep.
veteran agent that he trusts, I guess. And they totally like. So they have a whole setup that we talked about. There's a giant shootout. And the DA just leaves. And, like, I feel like, is this guy supposed to be, like, the Wade Garrett type character? Like, he's kind of a non-character.
Not quite. I don't know.
I think the uncle is supposed to be like the
Yeah.
Wade Garrett character. There's not really a Wade Garrett like, let me come in and teach you.
I don't
ropes.
hate that actor who's the uncle.
Yeah, he was all right.
He's
Well,
in
He's
Isn't
the
that- isn't
and
that Will
because he's
Patton
been in a
or-
bunch of things. Yeah.
yeah.
he's Armageddon and some
Yeah.
Michael Bay
Yeah,
movies.
I think he was all right as
Yeah.
like an uncle, even though he was like sidelined most of the movie.
Yeah.
He got like at least 1 or 2 action scenes.
Nobody in this movie, nobody in this movie looks like they can fight.
What about the scene where Nate is like pretending to be a janitor? he's like,
That's the funniest thing in
he
the
could have
world.
just like walked
Okay.
past all of them,
Yeah.
and instead he like whips out his mop and goes, die!
So they go to kill him because there's this 3-pronged plan by baseball fan, main bad guy.
Okay, first base, we're gonna get this guy.
And so they send him to go kill this man in the hospital, and then he realizes, first of all, like this. The funniest thing about this scene is this hospital becomes 0 staffed and then all the way staffed.
It's like, is it a zombie hospital?
They
Like,
also like beat the shit out of the
Oh no!
first
Yeah, no.
person.
So like typically what's happening, like they're going in to kill somebody in the hospital, and usually you have somebody sneaking in, somebody putting on like scrubs or something like that, or like just holding someone at gunpoint, being like, "Don't say anything, we're gonna go kill this guy."
right.
But like they go inside, and there's a nurse who's like, "You can't come in here," and they just kick her in the face.
She's like out immediately. They don't not like pretend like, oh hey, can you tell me?
No, it's just like, oh fuck, like that's
Yeah,
awful.
the lady thug kicks her because only ladies can kick other ladies.
right.
You know,
Them's the rules.
Yeah.
And so he hides out and like they get to the room. He's like, oh, he's not fucking here. And then it cuts to like, so they've already established that they're there to fuck up any staff employee. Like
he kills a random like old man.
They kill a random old man.
He just is like out of anger. He's not here, and he like rips out his oxygen.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? They just killed that guy for no reason. He's just lying there.
Oh yeah, because Nate had switched an old person in there, and then so he walks in, and he pulls out his oxygen,
And it's just
then
like,
so it cuts to Nate's plan is he's put on a hairnet and picked up a mop, and he's just pretending to be a janitor, and they're ignoring him for some reason.
Yeah.
After they've already established
He's a janitor in scrubs. Like, do they wear scrubs?
Sometimes, but not really.
And then so when they come to find him, he attacks them. He gets the jump on them, and then 3 people just run into the wooden handle of this mop, pretty much, because like, he's recovering from massive stab wounds, and then he fucks up 3 dudes, and then gets stabbed.
This movie also had like really like terrible sound effects for the punches.
Oh, it sounds like the most chop-socky, like 1970s, like, and like some of the fight choreography is actually like that's why I say
landing
like,
on boards sound. Yeah.
I would say that some of the fight choreography is actually like at least
Yeah.
interesting. Like there's stuff
It's
that
not
happens
bad.
in it, and a lot like the main bad guys. If you look at his IMDb, it's mostly stunts. Like he's a there's a lot of just stunt performers in the movie.
I'm pretty sure his like his Wikipedia page is like a photo of him like in a karate outfit or whatever it's called.
Well, certainly not Dalton's gi polo.
Yeah, no.
From
He
the first
attained
movie.
a 9th degree in Zendokai, Australia. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
He was a bodyguard.
No matter how good these stunts or fights are choreographed, the sound effects make them seem cartoonish and awful.
Yeah. So the final battle.
We can just do that the rest of the episode.
Yeah, the guy corners Sean? Is that what?
Shane.
Shane and Bo in her apartment.
Wait, was this the same guy from Step Up 4?
I know. Yeah, I thought his name was Jake the whole movie. I think I just because that's Jake. It's Jake Busey, so I think I.
Oh
right?
yeah,
I
sure.
don't know. Whatever.
And guys,
white names.
Oh, I guess people don't know that we're doing that next, but
yeah.
spoiler alert: this might be the year of Jake Busey for sequel rights.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
God.
I did see that. But yeah, so Cross is like, I'm gonna take care of this guy myself. Like, take this girl out and take care of her. And so like 2 guys take her out to like a shed. They're gonna rape her. They're like, take your pants off. Like they're bringing out their dicks
And
or
a
whatever.
pretty like usually in a like an action movie like this is kind of throwaway. Like they're not gonna get into like the
rape mechanics. Like
like where like there's jangling of his belt and
Yeah.
like and
that was
it's
gross.
it steps over a line
was
in a
like,
way
"You're
that is
next, Michael."
that is
So
uncomfortable.
gross.
yeah, he implies the other guy
He
can
says
rape
you're
her
next,
next.
Fidel.
Oh no, I was like, I couldn't remember. I
Yeah.
was gonna say Miguel, but I didn't want to be like, you know.
Anyway, thankfully, since she was in the military, she's able to like kick their butts and get the gun away, and like whatever.
She does like I think that there is something that Justin was saying is that like she gets the shit kicked out of her by these people, and she fights really fucking hard,
Sure.
and like that's. I don't know if it's cool, but like it does give her way more to do. Like she's pretty badass in this scene.
Yeah. And so thankfully she gets away, but then in the next battle she's fighting just the lady thug who is like also apparently like a karate expert stunt lady.
Well, she works in
from
the bar
Twilight
business, so
or something.
Yeah, I love the way their fight starts. She just like full on dives.
Yeah.
Like arms out, dive over the bar at her, and I was like, "Whoa, okay."
But the whole
this is
time they're
happening.
fighting in this industrial kitchen, and there's a big sign behind them that says "Danger, hot." Like just like not like "Do not touch hot surfaces," just says "hot." Like, meow.
just like the
like
scene.
the
Am I
prop
right,
guy.
guys?
The prop guy thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
so-
art department, well played.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and she gets stabbed, and then she pulls the knife blade out of herself, and then stabs.
She gets stabbed like in the stomach.
I thought she was gonna die.
Yeah, me
that
too. I
stab
was
looked
like,
that
she's
bad.
Dead now.
Yeah, but she survived. And then Shane is in a final.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but there's a central mystery that we start off from here. Where,
who killed Dalton?
Because Dalton's been murdered, guys.
Oh, yeah.
And there's
so
a point
interested to know who killed.
And there was a point in the where he's a D agent before he even goes back home, and he's like, I asked, who I asked him, do you know who killed my father? He's like, do they ever know? And he's like, no, I don't think he knows, but I always ask.
In New York.
So he's like,
the murder took place in Louisiana.
Yeah, I remember thinking like, shit, is he asking like every single person they bring in? Like, hey, you know who killed my dad? No, okay, you don't even know who he is. Okay, right.
They make it seem that way. But like the way he delivers the line, he says it like it's cool. Like he's like, but I always ask. Like it's like a folksy wisdom, and it's like, no, like it's desperate and unprofessional. Like you shouldn't be an agent.
He's like, I've got no clues. I have to ask every single
criminal. Did you kill my dad?
Across.
Did you kill my dad? Do you want guacamole with that? Did you kill my dad?
Yeah, pretty much. That's so funny. I always ask, literally everyone.
So we find out when Crossed comes. While the it's yeah, I'm gonna call him Crossed because that's what the subtitles said. Lazier subtitles were more intentionally written than this screenplay.
Yeah.
Cross-cut with the rape scene is him saying, "You don't remember me, do you rookie cop? You pulled me over.
That's right.
You gave me a DUI, and I got so angry I wanted to kill you."
Yeah.
And then so it's like the whole thing is like, oh, like he killed Dalton, and then like after Shane kicks the shit out of him, he's like, "It wasn't me. Wow, Bill pulled the trigger." And it's like, how old are you, and how old is he?
I love
like
that.
What is the timeline here?
Yeah, I love that the like big boss guy is like so tough.
Yeah.
And then he like is getting held up against the wall and getting punched repeatedly, and he's like, "I'll never talk. I'm not gonna tell you shit."
Yeah.
And then he punches him like 2 more times. He's like, "Okay, fine. I'll tell you everything."
It wasn't me. And he's like, we'll take it down. I have some friends coming. We'll get you some cash. And it's like, you are so far past this. Like, you're so far past
Caved
this.
so hard immediately.
But he also didn't die.
Yeah.
Nobody in this movie
I was
really
like
died.
waiting for the throat rip, and it never happened.
I love like the movie ends with like because Shane walked off the fucking DA job, and they're like, well, I guess we got the big thing that we're supposed to get because he's arrested the DeMarco and Crossed, and it's like so the movie keeps him alive for that to work, but they murdered so many. Like it was handled so improperly. Like there would be internal affairs. Like there would be all these other things, and they're literally just kept alive so that they can be sitting in handcuffs at the end to make it seem like he did a good job.
Yeah,
which he did a bad job. He did a bad job as running the bar. He did a bad job as a DE agent. He did a bad job as a nephew because he left his. Of course they're going to go kill him.
Also, he never took it outside or was nice.
No.
And he's like, he didn't even follow the main 3 rules. He also underestimated everybody. So, yeah. But so the cheesiest thing in the whole movie that I just really brought it together for me was the final battle between Shane and Wild Bill. And Wild Bill's like choking him out, he's spent. He's
fighting with a chain.
Yeah, he like Shane's in his last minutes.
Shane
he's being
versus the
choked
chain.
out. Like this is it. He's losing, and then Shane has a flashback in the middle of being choked.
Remember when you were a doughy teenager?
Back to the boxing ring, and he hears his uncle with a voiceover saying, "I believe in you, kid. You can do this." And he all of a sudden is out of the flashback, and he's able to power through the chokehold and live.
Which is insane because like there's a far more emotional motivator where like the whole thing was that they were trying to kill him and not Dalton. They were trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, so he could have said something about like this is from my dad, or it's like, remember that one time when I was boxing with my uncle?
That's why I'm like, are you sure it was supposed to be his uncle? I don't know.
No, it was.
No, it was.
That's
Definitely
dumb.
his uncle.
That's dumb. This
But
movie sucks.
yeah, it just. Oh man.
But then.
No, this is even dumb. But okay,
He
go ahead.
kicks him. He's like this. He punched him. He's like, "This is from my uncle, and this is from my dad." And then he kicks him out of a window. And then Jake Busey dies from being impaled by a pelican statue.
I mean, allegedly, they never fucking show the entire statue.
I know.
To the point where I was like, I think it was the pelican, but I'm not really
It
sure.
could have just been like a post.
chair
A banister.
or something.
Yeah.
It's like I'm pretty sure they mean for it to be the pelican, but they never show the full thing.
No, I didn't even get
Like
that
you
at
wanted
all.
like him like impaled through the pelican, and then like the pelican's like open mouth, like his heart sticking out underneath
yeah, like
it.
blood
Blech.
dripping down it. Like I don't know. I was like, they had enough like money to show it coming out of his chest, but not enough money to show like the rest of his body.
And so one of the things that made me so mad about when this movie wraps up, because Bo tricked him, deceives him, and keeps him away from the like two of his friends get robot.
One guy
out of
gets
love.
killed because again they think it's Shane, and he
Right.
even has a problem. He for 1 second he has the character beat of being like, oh no, someone else got killed because they thought it was me.
Right.
They don't develop it, but like the idea was there.
And Chubby gets crippled, our robot friend.
That scene is stupid too.
Yeah, but so the thing, the way that she deceives him into doing that, she's like, well, what would your, because his uncle's like, look, like just go have fun, we'll clean this up in 3 days, like it won't be like we got it under control. So like his uncle gives him permission, and then so she's like, well, what would your uncle say if like you did this? Like what would your uncle say if you left like this? So like she's using that as a manipulative thing to keep him there and keep him away from the bar, and then after all that shit happens, like. She's like, when are you going back up north? And he's like, I don't know how I'm gonna. She's like, well, what would your uncle say of doing this?
Which I thought, I was like, that's effed up. His uncle's dead. Like, why would you say that?
Died again. Yeah.
But it was just like, no, like you fucking deceived him,
Yeah.
and you're like, it's not cute when you use the same thing that got a man murdered.
Yeah, but then his uncle shows up behind, like, well, he'd
But-
be pretty mad.
But a man was murdered.
They don't care in this movie.
Nobody cared. What was that guy's name? You can't even name that guy.
And then it cut to Robot doing a little crutch shuffle.
I think they added in those guys getting killed, like so like when the bad guys show up to the Pelican to like supposedly maybe kill Sean. I don't
Yeah.
know. It looks completely dark. Like you're like, oh, this place is empty. There's nobody here. They go in, walk all the way in,
And then there's
it's
like an
completely
insert
dark.
of like a stool being thrown out of a window.
No, yeah, it's completely dark, and all of a sudden it's just like someone's shooting a machine gun, like, and then it cuts to the next scene, and then you like a couple scenes later see that like apparently those dudes were still there and they got killed.
I do like talking about callbacks. There's another early 90s Mercedes.
Ghost car?
Ghost car that drives straight in and then explodes.
Yeah, as soon as that started happening, I was like, there's nobody in that car.
He stopped by Red's shop, picked up some oil barrels.
Yeah, and he used Nate's crutch from the hospital to hold down the pedal.
No, it was the mop.
They didn't show how the.
But yeah, that was the only explosion. Like, they blew up like 4 cars. I was like, where's the explosions? Like, blow up the bar.
I want explosions. I want people who fuck dudes like that in prison.
I want that. They never say that. I want somebody to put like an alligator in someone's house, like something.
That
cool.
would be better. Just like an alligator head. There's
Well,
a lot
yeah,
of
or just an
there's a lot of
alligator.
fan boats. There's a lot of fan boats as establishing shots where nothing happens. It was just
Exactly.
people. Like my favorite one is when Wild Bill's entourage rolls up and they're all like posing.
That's what I was saying. And he screams from the edge of the pier, like, "Hey, don't hang out with Sean tonight. Maybe. Bye." It's like so dumb. And that's the end of the scene.
Yeah.
She goes, "What?"
And it would be better if that was the end of the movie,
Yeah.
which we kind of already got to. I mean,
we did. There's
Yeah.
Wait,
nothing
so
else.
what band was those like weird emo songs? Like anytime there was
Oh,
anything, like it sounded like I don't even know.
I didn't listen to who it was, but I'm guessing that it was Nico Sty in the
Oh,
credits,
okay.
and it's funny because we used to actually work with him at my job, so
it's not
we were
that they
probably
were.
working with him at that time.
It's not that they were even horrible songs. It was just not the right choice.
Well,
like,
I thought
why?
it was funny that they used the same song every time. It
Yeah.
was sad. Like, oh, he's coming back home. Sad song. Oh, he's about to make out with this girl. Sad
song.
Oh, he's something else. Sad song. This is the same song. And then what is I don't know what the lyrics are, but it sounded like it was like Christy's got a sex tape is what it sounded like they were saying.
yeah. So we should talk about the music in this
I don't
movie
know. Every
because
time it happened, I was like, is he saying sex tape?
because all the music is bad, right?
And there's something like right when they're like moving to the bed in the romance part, there's something like, I got a new bathroom. Like that lyric happens right when they're like going to bed. I was like, what the fuck is going
It just
on?
didn't fit. The style of that song just did not fit at all.
Got a
like-
brand new porcelain throne.
Yeah.
and then
it was
everything
very
was
weird.
so country, and it was just, ugh, yeah.
Shiny
And then
new
like random
shower
hip hop
curtain.
songs that were like,
Oh, there's a black person on screen. You know, it's like,
oh, he's out of the bar. Back to country.
yeah.
Yeah.
So fucked up.
Well,
we ready for that rating or what?
yeah. Do you have one?
I was gonna say how many fan boats.
I don't know.
How many
I was gonna- I was
gratuitous
gonna-
fan
I was
boat
gonna say something
shots?
about Marlins games, but yeah, let's go fan boats.
Yeah, fan boats. Let's do it. Anyone want to go first?
Ooh.
Sure, I'll
I'm-
go first. I
Ooh,
don't care.
Eliz.
2 fan boats.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, yeah, I don't know. It just was so aggressively boring. Like, it wasn't like, I would almost rather be offended by all the ways that they like insulted the original movie, but instead it was just like boring and
Yeah.
just didn't like take any risks, I guess.
There's not enough legacy from the first movie for me to give a shit about this. And it's like, I will say that I was pleasantly surprised. I'm probably going to go 4, but just because I thought that it was going to be, I'm going to go 3. I'm going to go 3 fan boats.
You didn't see my face, listeners, but I was like, what?
Because I really thought that it was just going to have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And so, like, the fact that it kind of made an effort, I guess I give it credit for that, but it ruins everything that was fun about the first movie.
Well, I think I want
But
to.
I also think that there's nothing about the first movie that is solid enough to make a sequel from. Like, there's
Right.
it's a losing proposition.
The nugget of the story, like, you know, Dalton had a son and a brother, and they're dealing with the fact that he's gone, and it's sort of in the same, you know, vein because they have a bar. Like, that nugget is interesting and could have been like an interesting story, I think, but all the other choices around it were just
They're
bad.
just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I also am going to give it a 3 because I think, like, you know, for a random sequel to come out 17 years after the first movie, out of nowhere, apparently, I think it's actually surprisingly, like, reverent of the first film.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
It
it
is.
checks off so many boxes of, like, hey, we get, like, people love Roadhouse. We gotta make these stupid jokes and bring back, like, all these lines and exact scenes from the first
Do you know what
one.
it's like? It's like when an SNL skit has been done to death.
Yeah.
And then, like, that person who was the cast member
The
that
host,
did it
yeah.
like 10 times, and then they're hosting like
Yeah.
5 years later, and it's just doing the jokes to the point where it's like it's just not, it's sad.
But, like,
That's what this movie is.
yeah, that's true. But, like, also, you know, I guess I don't know if this is true, but if Patrick Swayze was supposed to be in it and then he said no, you know, I don't know what else you're gonna do besides, like, if you wanted to have any connection to Roadhouse. Or the original, besides just, like, I mean, it could have maybe been a better movie if it was just, like, new characters completely and not connected to Roadhouse at all. But I think it was a valiant effort, even though it doesn't turn out super well,
Sure.
to try to honor the first film.
Yes.
Clearly, the people, whoever made it was clearly a fan, and maybe that's where the project came out of. They're like, I just love this movie so much, I want to make my own version.
Again, like, yeah, I do appreciate, like, I honestly thought, like, the first 5 minutes of the movie, I was like, this is gonna have nothing to do with it, and, like, I'm gonna hate it. And, you know, the callbacks were, some of them were enjoyable. Some of them were enjoyable, and then they got tired, and yeah.
I mean, it could have been one of those sequels where, yeah, it had nothing to do with it, and that could have also been, like,
Yeah.
just as shitty.
Yep.
But, I mean, we'll never know. But yeah.
In 2016, there were a bunch of headlines that there was going to be a new Roadhouse with Ronda Rousey
Yeah.
in the lead, and I guess it didn't pan out because she became not successful anymore in her sport or something, and so then they canceled it.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything
Well,
about
I
that at all.
still would not be surprised if Roadhouse makes it back somehow.
Sure.
I think that there's something about the story. I mean, I guess because we're wrapping up Roadhouse now. That's what we're doing,
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
I think that there's something like, and the thing that this movie has is where there's the cops are owned, and it's actually more explicit in Roadhouse 2 than it is in the first Roadhouse, where there's a cop who's been bought off, and he goes up and he's like, look, these are your people. Like, you can't, like, how many people are going to die until you stand up and do the right thing? And so I think that there is something to that, and there's a theme buried underneath there. It was kind of, we're talking about, like, the banality of the evil of Wesley, of, like, we even have a J.C. Penney. And it's kind of, you know, that they're, like, evil is kind of oppressive and boring, and the motivations are boring and predictable. And so I think that there is something to Roadhouse of it's just this bouncer who's not somebody who should be a paragon of what's right in your community, but
Yeah,
there is, and so I think that there's something to that, I guess. So if there's a movie that came out of it, I'd probably still.
I do feel like with the plot and bones of Roadhouse 2, if someone made like an actual movie,
Yeah.
someone make like a full budget, like
not an excuse to
great
get like
actors movie.
twins and Lamborghinis, and
Yeah, I feel like with the plot twists and everything, like it could have been really good.
Yeah.
Because like I do like how they like tried really hard to like connect it to the original, and like the fact that this dude killed his dad on accident, basically not on accident, but like meaning to kill him, could have been like a really emotional, like,
it had
strong
no emotional
performance
weight
thing, but it happens and you're just like, this is dumb. Like I could have.
It's almost like that there was something like they just had to erase. Oh, Jake Busey is the worst in this movie, but like they just had to erase Patrick Swayze at like they had all of these elements that related back to the first movie, but there could be no actual references to Dalton the character or as a father or as any of his legacy. So something that we talked about, like the world building in Roadhouse and Roadhouse of like how much thought was put into that and for a silly bouncer movie. And so it's kind of like, well, we have all these ties to it, but there's a giant black empty space where all of that legacy should be. And I don't know if it was legally that they just couldn't include him at all.
Well, it says based on the characters of so-and-so.
But there's not even a
beginning.
photo of him. Like there's not even like.
Well, you probably couldn't have his likeness. You couldn't have his likeness
Sure.
because Patrick Swayze would have had to. Sign
But like
off
so,
on that.
you,
But
all
you
you
can
had
have the character is.
all
not
he had to do was
Patrick
talk
Swayze.
about how much his dad meant to him, and like.
Kind of did. He's just not a good actor, so it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't come through. Like that could have been a huge like
Get it,
emotional
boy.
wall-up. Yeah,
Box
exactly.
it.
What if David Lynch remade Roadhouse at the Twin Peaks Roadhouse?
Yeah.
That'd be great. I'd watch it right now.
I would love to wonder what that's about.
Patrick Swayze just gets on the floor and starts screaming. Like,
He's talking backwards. Yeah.
yeah.
That'd be great.
Well, the exciting thing about the double feature that we're doing this winter is that we get to return to Patrick Swayze.
The Swayze-verse.
We're going backwards.
We're going backwards.
Dirty Dancing was actually before Roadhouse.
Indeed.
And there was lots of talk about like how Dirty Dancing was for the girls, and then like Roadhouse was for the guys because he got huge after Dirty Dancing, and Roadhouse was his next movie. So yeah, we're doing Dirty Dancing next. I think we already talked about it a couple of episodes ago, but in case you missed them, Dirty Dancing is up next, and I've never seen it.
Oh, damn.
What?
I've licensed that dang song a million times
Sure.
for work, but never seen it.
Wow.
I think you're going to be
talk about
surprised
this next
about that.
week.
You're going to think it's like, oh, this is just a fun dance movie, and turns out no.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's actually. I'm excited for you to see it. I'm excited to talk about it. And we're all going to go to a summer camp and.
I know nothing.
And
about
watch
the
it.
movie, other than
I also saw the musical at the Pantages.
There you go.
There you go. Well,
But in the meantime, after Dirty Dancing, we're going to need some suggestions. So
Yes.
reach out to us on the socials, which
Yeah.
are.
Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sequel Rights, and email us sequelrights@gmail.com.
And as desperately, just like Shane, where he always has to ask, if you killed my father, I always have to ask you listeners to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Give us the 5 stars. It really helps. It really means a lot.
give us 5 stars wherever you can.
Wherever you
Apple,
can. Apple,
Spotify.
Spotify. We're on Spotify now, and it's a fun way to listen. You could tell that there's streaming quality that's much easier for your Apple CarPlay.
That's right. That's right.
And yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, we hope you guys have been enjoying everything. We are really loving putting this on for you. So send us your love, send us your questions, send us your whatever, and tune in next week as we do the famous lift live on camera. Just kidding, we're not doing it.
I'm just like, what combination would that even work between the three of us? Like, there is no combinations where that would be possible. It would be like that health insurance commercial where the couple like falls into the table. Yeah.
Yeah, well, oh God.
Well,
That would
until
be-
next time, guys, pain don't hurt.
What you got, boy?
I got a bombshell in my black Corvette, burning on the rubber like a hot cigarette. You ain't found nothing that'll hold me yet. the edge, like a Tarantino movie running through my head. Ain't gonna sleep again until I'm dead. So I'm gonna fly just as high